So round one is for the most part complete now. Um, and yesterday, there was a push to get it going. And I just want to throw a few little things in. As you do stuff, it changes the way you think. Because this has obviously been a case of make it up as you go. You've got original vision of what you think, but it always changes a little bit. So my original intention always was for I found a set of plates, 25, 20, 15, 10. I just look, I thought I want to build a gym to go with these old school plates, as you do. Now, what's interesting is, see, I didn't even know how it was going to lift, and I just built it as I went, again, solid. And so after I got the crossover built, the next conundrum I had was, well, these here are going to keep sticking. So I had to actually make some frames up for that. And with the bottom side, it was like, well, do I just make a basic clip for it? But then one thing leads to the next. I was like, oh, well, why don't I kill a few birds with one stone? So I made a proper brace. And so as I made that brace and like I got it there, I was like, oh yeah, cool. She's strong. See, you got the chain that holds it. And then you got the next thing is like, oh, now I'm gonna have to cut that metal out and then drill a new hole. But like now what we got is rowing machine. Interesting. So you can't be impatient when it comes to these things, because as you're essentially playing the manufacturer, you don't actually know what's going to come next. Anyway, this crossover machine is solid. Few other things, what you may not realize with these, with the holes, I didn't realize, because you got one hole here that came with in one here, but when that cog goes in, you need to balance that with that. So this has to be slightly off the center to actually get it to become centered down the bottom. So little things you got to take note of. Yesterday, look, I've just put here and here, plus I've got here, plus here, here, here. Now, that chain's not actually doing anything. I've just put it there for now for shits and giggles, but yeah, shoulder press. Now, I've left that so it's loose because you can pull it in as one, or you can have it as two. So as one, you can use it for, the row bar, or two, you can shoulder press, you can use it for bench press. You could use that for whatever seriously, I can't believe the functionality of that frame alone with those bars on that setup. Because I've got these can go in it. Obviously, I can also use the chains with those, that bar, but because you've got the single and the double, the variations are just, it's quite profound. Now, so where I'm at is I pushed on. I've got some ab straps coming. They're going to hang off that. So that'll be sorted for abs. And yesterday, my power rack. So what's interesting is I made it up with the idea that I wanted it for both biceps and chest and squats. Anyway, so I actually made it wide enough, that wide, that I can't reach all the way out. Now, here's what's interesting is, so also that, I chose my height. So when I'm finished, it's just going to clip on in. And then I just went up 250, 250, 250. And what's interesting with the 250, 250, 250 is that's the exact size of my shoulder. So those four allow me to do, and then obviously that, when I'm laying on the bench, is actually the exact height for the bench as well. It's fascinating. Now, so with the bar, to keep it uniform, again, I've used the bolts on either end. They've been welded on there. But it was a rusted up bar that had been sitting in a shed for about 30 to 40 years. And so first and foremost, when I'd done the welds, see how it's polished up nicely back? Anyway, I got a, you'll appreciate this because it's worth understanding, this. And I put it on my big grinder. Anyway, So my original intention was like, they should pull the rust back. And anyway, but what's happening is as I was actually polishing it, you ever heard of, like, you know, that Hammond effect paint? Yeah. Perfectly polished rust. Because it's not actually rust, it's the oxidized layer that sits on top of it. So, I mean, it's beautiful. You know, there's no grub in my hand, so I polished it all the way back. So then what I did is I put the center, and I went out, what was it, 400 either way, and then I went to the bar. So whenever you're lifting, so like you've got to know where your center is, but also that shows me what's going to be where. Like I don't mind using it like that because you're not going to get rust. Like that's a protective layer, and I could put a bit of protector stuff on that and you'll never have a problem with that bar. But like, how cool is that? Polished rust bar. 45s of these. With these 45s, these are a godsend. Yeah, just the power of this and clamps is just unbelievable when it comes to actually, you know, doing proper welding. Yeah, haven't got rid of the, yeah, what's it called, the slag yet, but like it's all pretty solid. But so cable crossover. This here now allows us to have a and that's as solid as a rock. And maybe I'll paint it, but maybe not. I think I like the rustic look because then it's going to allow me to just keep welding stuff on it. These, so I've got proper bar, bicep curl bar. But between these and a set of chains, you don't need your angle bars because the chains allow you to hold whatever angle you want for whatever movement it is that you want to do. So that frame, whatever height, so you got high there, or there, deadlifts, bench press, standing shoulder press. Now, here's the beauty of this. When I want to use the other frames, turn it around. A bit like a pole dance, isn't it? Anyway, so I've done it so like, because solid as a rock. I've got, so if that's 2-inch, I've got 40 mil inside of it, and it just turns on itself. It's bolted together, so if I ever need to pull it apart, I just got to sort it back into itself. Anyway, but the reason I wanted to film now and not later was because I found this bench on the side of the road, and it was a little bit wobbly, but I was like, the size, the height, everything else, it's a decent bench. So I pulled it apart, cleaned it up, and last night got to it, and I've welded 3 bits of 2-inch in there. Like it's as solid as a rock. Now, when it comes to putting your bench tops on, very simply put, I like to use 3 drill bits, but 1, 2, 3. What you do is I picked this end first and drilled the holes, and then from underneath I drilled up and out so that they had their spot. Then once they were in, so that, you know, it was firm, I then had it turned over and I drilled the holes from underneath and then back through, which gives you perfectly solid, crisp, lined holes so that nothing moves. All I've got to do today now is appaulst that. That's why I was like, I want to do this film now because it's a little bit significant. Like, that bench is probably the most solid bench you'll come across. I mean, half this bloody industry that we've got's all based upon nuts and bolts, but when you start welding things, you could drive a car up on that. Anyway, so today got me what's it called, staple gun, but it's this upholstery, beautiful upholstery, you know, like not that rubbish stuff, like proper outdoor upholstery. So that's what's going to go on this bench, and I'm sure I'm going to make other benches, but for now my original goal was just to get it built so I could stop building and start using and then start having some ideas about what it is I want to do next. Well, what I've got is a cable crossover. I've got a bar machine that's like a Smith machine, and I've got a power rack. I've got my actual lifting bar that's made to size. Just like that's made to size. That's my exact size. I've made it a bit thinner because I wanted to make sure that my shoulders are on the outside of it so that I've got no restrictions of any of the moves that I do. All I've got to do is appaulst that. And what we'll have is something that's, right to rock and roll, not just for now. I mean, if I never build anything again in my life, this would be enough until the day I was dead. But, like with projects, you can't keep it on the mantle until, you're thinking the day comes that I want to use it, like that special bath soap or something like that, because you'll never use it. Just get a project done to the point where it's usable. This is beyond usable. And I done a push, and like with this push, it's taken me 3 weeks on weekends, like 4 days. So it would have taken me, if I only had spare time a year. So that's why I knew I had to push to get it done. But I want to use this for core, and because I want to use this for core, I want to spend the time lifting with other things because I've got basic core movements, and I want to allow it to tell me what it wants next. So once that's upholstered, the next step is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. Undo those bolts, pull those out. We've got my 2 separate frames here. All I then have to do is level the floor. I've got proper plastic to put underneath it. Then I've got that proper gym matting. Get the floor level. Put the plastic down, put the gym matting down, sit this on top of it. We are right to rock and roll until further notice. Then all I'll have to do on a later date if I want to work on this end here, because this other stuff is done. And like I was saying, I don't think I want to paint it. I like that hardcore feel to it. Is just undo those bolts, pull that away. Probably move that table, I guess, because I don't really want to take it out of this shed. Do my couple of welds and then just keep moving on. But this will be a project to evolve. I'd like to think it's going to last until the day I'm dead. It's not just going to be in this shit. I could take it anywhere else. But there was no major plan except for I had an old school set of plates and I knew I wanted to live with them. And this is the outcome of it. And bloody fascinatingly enough, it's blown my own expectations. I mean, everything is solid. 200 kilos. 200 kilos. Yeah, 200 kilos. And the reason why I say 200 kilos is like that, you could think you could want it longer, but like that's a 25 kilo thing. So, I've just got to get another set of plates. It's going to be a long time until I can do 200 kilos again because I've been out of the game a little bit because I've been busy with life. But I'd like to get back to 200 kilo lifting with the whole lot period. But what a beautiful thing to think you could start with a proper gym. This is probably better than most gyms. This is unbelievable. I've got a wobbler I'm going to bring in here as well. And it's going to allow me to create that routine where it does not matter what happens in my life. This is going to dictate where I live from now on, because until I'm dead, this will stay with me. The only thing I don't know about is the strength of these, but we're about to find out. All I know is this. When you buy them, you need to make sure, if it's too wide, that you do put washers in place because you've got to hold the plastic coverings for the bearings in. So there's no reason why these shouldn't be solid as well, but I'm about to find out. Aside from that, though, pretty nice to walk into a jungle gym each morning, eh? Anyway, there we go.